Gladiator 2 is, of course, a movie that has come out recently to some very interesting reviews. Now, of course, the another thing that's a little bit similar is that the main thing is that it's not as good as the first one. Now, of course, the first one, a beloved film, it's kind of hard to be better than that, right? But for the most part, they just say it's not as good as the first one. Fair enough. But me personally, I'm going to say it right now. So people are wondering why I have these opinions. I didn't watch the first one. I'm sorry, I didn't watch the first one. But, hopefully stay and listen to my review on this movie. But besides that, the reviews are 8 out of 10 by Screen Rant, 6.9 out of 10 by IMDb, and 77% of Google users like the movie. Now, of course, Rotten Tomatoes, critics have it 71, people have it 83%. So obviously the people like it more than the critics, but the critics like it as well. Me personally, I gave it an 8.5. Yeah, it's an 8.5. Now, of course, my friend on record, you could say, he sent me a message. He said 7.5. Different from me, but he said that he watched the first movie. So that's probably why some people have it lower, is because they're comparing it to the first one, which who wouldn't, right? But essentially, we'll go with the non-spoiler review and then the spoiler review. So the non-spoiler, obviously, is 16 years after the death of Maximus at the hands of his uncle, right, appears his son, right, basically after 16 years, they forgot about him. They basically erased him from history. People still talk about him, but for the most part, he has been forgotten in the public eye, right? They scratched off all his names, all the other stuff, but for the most part, his influence is basically gone. Now Rome is ruled by two emperors, very corrupt, and don't even have the support of the people. And of course, you do have the main character, Lucius or Hanno, depending on which name you want to use, considering after the events of his dad getting murdered or getting killed, he has to be sent off to a place where he ends up in Numidia as a soldier, where he gets captured and gets sent back to Rome, but no one knows that he's the son, right? He doesn't know that he's the prince. Then you have Macrinus, which is basically the guy who buys Lucius, and he essentially is a power-hungry man who he himself used to be a slave. And the one thing that he does says that basically shows that he's evil is that he basically says the Roman dream isn't buying your own freedom, it's having a slave of your own, right? And of course, you have another technical antagonist, that being Marcus Archaeus, that being the general of Rome, aka the essential hero. And then you have the emperors Geta and some other guy, I forgot. But for the most part, you have the two emperors, right? Evil, but there is a plot to overthrow the emperors that involves Lucilla, essential mom of Lucius, who has the support of the Senate for the most part, and the support of obviously her husband, who wants out, right? He does not want to continue fighting these wars, destroying families and basically societies, right? For evil, corrupt emperors, right? So the essential plot is Lucius fighting, basically involving New Hope and all that stuff, and at the end of the day, is his journey of essentially liberating Rome. But the good and bad parts, I'll say. The good part is action. Amazing action. I like the fight scenes. I like the way they introduce these characters, like the champion, the undefeated guy, the guy that rides on the rhino. Absolutely amazing. I like the, music. The score makes it epic and, makes it grand. And the thing is, the movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, which is overall longer than your average movie. Most of them are around an hour and 40 minutes to 2 hours. There's an extra 30 hours. It barely feels that long. It does a great way of keeping you engaged throughout the entire movie. Obviously there's a lot of twists and turns with it. One backstabbing another one, all that stuff. And overall, a good message, right? The dialogue is kind of where it kind of drops the ball, I guess you could say. Don't get me wrong, it's still good, but not as good, right? It's just all right, right? For the most part, anyways. There are some scenes where it's good. Not to mention the other gladiators, although they don't show that much, they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch, and the little ways that they show like little interactions between each other, joking around, having a good laugh sometimes, the dialogue that Lucius has with Ravi, the essential doctor of the crew, and overall the plot is great. It's great. I like the action. I'm a little I like it. I like action. And it does it really, really well. Sometimes the dialogue isn't as epic as the action nor as the essential message that they're trying to portray. But besides that, who cares? It's good old fashioned. It's good old fashioned action. Who doesn't like action, right? But besides that, the essential thing is it's a pretty good movie. A pretty good movie. I liked it. I love the action. But now it's time for the essential spoiler review. That being now. So I don't know. Leave if you haven't watched the movie. I recommend it. Besides that, now we're in with the essential spoiler review. That being the essential plot, right? There are some things that I like, in that being Macrinus, which essentially, dude, that dude's smart. That dude is smart, dude. That dude finds a way to basically divide and conquer. This man basically kept betting with the essential, one of the senators, right? That being Thrax, or basically Thrax, right? And once he had him in enough debt, he basically didn't ask for the money back. He asked for his loyalty. That being obviously one of the bigger names in the Senate, that got him a lot of power. Not to mention the mother has her own power, because not only does she have the support of her own senator, right, which he himself has support of other people, so obviously the power is split. He also has the support of her husband, and the husband, obviously as the general, has the support of his army, right? The army is loyal to him and him alone. And not to mention the way that they show, how the people obviously aren't fond of the emperor. They make it really good. Which, to be honest, you can say, oh, how did they mess that up? I don't know how they can mess it up. But the essential thing is that the eventual fight between Lucius and Accius, I don't know. We're just going to call him Marcus. That's his first name. Sorry for butchering his name, right? They're fighting, right? And Marcus obviously finding out that that's his wife's son. He basically said, I'm loyal to your mother. If your mother doesn't want me to kill you, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just surrender, right? And obviously the emperor obviously has to choose whether one lives or dies, obviously with the thumbs up, thumbs down. Puts the thumbs down, right? And then everyone does not like it, and everyone's cheering, no, save him, right? And then you see in the crowd, people are showing thumbs up. They're like, no, you gotta save him, right? Because obviously they're not messing with the emperors. They're like, because he's the essential hero of Rome, even though they basically said that he was conspiring against the emperor. The people don't care. The people do not care. But the thing is, Macrinus, he basically convinced the emperors to basically execute these guys, right? Because he knows that once they go, that the people will essentially just riot against the emperors, where then he can swoop in and take the power. Ooh, it's very smart. He's very smart. Dividing and conquering. Not to mention the Senate obviously doesn't want to go with it, but since Thrax is the one that basically shows loyalty to Macrinus, the rest of the Senate does, because they basically show support with him. They're like, oh, all right, if he's supporting him, I'll support him too, right? So after that, he then plants a seed in one of the brothers' heads, obviously being the less stable one, that his brother is essentially going to frame him for all the bad stuff, and then he's going to get him killed and all that stuff. So then the brother just kills the other brother. Boom. The smarter one, the essential more stable one, the one that is the biggest threat to his conquest of Rome is gone now. I was like, damn, it's too smart. This dude moves nice. It's very smart, right? And yeah, I like it. I like the movie. The way that they love the gladiators and stuff, especially how it shows that the people don't care about the emperors, because whenever they say, oh, we're gonna put this person to death, they're like, boo, get out of here. And obviously it got to a tipping point where a whole riot goes out, and then they fight each other, right? I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to just recap the entire story, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't know how to say it. There are some inconsistencies, but it's just like very minor. Like, there's one scene where Lucius is forced to basically row. He is by himself because he just decided to be funny. He rowed like all night, or basically all day, right? And then the next day he was supposed to fight in a battle. I'm just saying, wouldn't he be like super sore from that? Like, I'm just saying, I don't think he could be at 100% after like rowing for the entire day. I feel like that kind of just kills your muscles. But what are you gonna do? These guys are superhuman, right? Another thing that I guess you could say that I don't like is that Jubartha, basically the leader of Numidia, once they got captured, he kind of just gives up. Which, fair enough. He had a like essential broken arm. He said, I'm not going to survive there, so goodbye. And we're like, I guess. A little bit sad, right? As I mentioned, they do a pretty good job of making it somewhat emotional, obviously with the death of Marcus and his wife, obviously. A bit sad. And then how basically the second power's up for grab, everyone starts killing each other. Oh, man. Macrinus. But he dies, by the way. He does not succeed, right? Lucius kills him. And then of course he finally fixes Rome technically, right? But yeah, it's pretty good. You know, any bad parts about the movie? I could say, um, Lucius, for the most part, can't. I don't want to say he doesn't know how to talk, but I feel like I don't trust him. I feel like I don't really feel the emotion from him sometimes. That's just about it. The emperors, they do really good at portraying themselves as like shit up sociopaths, man. They do pretty good at that. You know, like I said, the other gladiators, dude, they're just some dude that's like twice Lucius's size. I'm like, god damn, who the hell is this guy? It's like 6'6" or something. I was like, damn. And then not to mention the way set designs obviously can't go wrong with that. Action, it's not like other action where it's just I just swing at you, you swing at me, no defense. There's some good defense in there. I don't want to say it's like lifelike to like actual MMA fighting and all that stuff. Obviously, because MMA is, people would say, an art form, but for the most part, it isn't just mindless sock and bop 'em robots anymore, right? There's actual, defense. Yeah, because a lot of people will be mad because like when people be watching like boxing or MMA when people are watching boxing or MMA movies, they're like, why the hell are they fighting like that? There's like no defense. They have defense in this movie, and I like it. I thought it was just gonna be, I hit you once, you hit me back. I hit you once, you hit me back, and all that stuff. No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But besides that, that's about it for the movie. Great action. There's some comedy, not too much. Obviously, it's not comedy, but they have some scenes where you're just like, hey, that's pretty funny, right? The scene of Macrinus's essential claim to the throne, although he doesn't succeed, that's amazing. I like that part. It was like, dude, this dude's smart, right? But besides that, actually, we'll talk about it. Is that people said that this movie is woke. I watched the movie. They said, oh, they made Denzel Washington kiss a guy. We're like on the lips, because I don't remember him kissing someone on the lips, like on the cheeks, I guess. But like it's Rome. Rome was like a little freaky at that time, a little bit like that, right? So I was like, okay, woke, I guess. I don't know. Kept me awake, so I guess it is woke, right? But by the end of the day, the essential thing is that it's not as good as the first one. You know what? It's a fair criticism, but at the same time, the first one is beloved. It's kind of hard to match the energy, but this is a great movie nonetheless. If you love action, if you don't want to continuously compare it to the first one, you'll really enjoy this movie. The fight scenes are pretty good as well. Even the boat fight scene is pretty good. But besides that, that's about it. It's a great movie. It's quest for power and all that stuff. Some stuff kind of just here and there, just appears and doesn't appear. So it's like, all right, why'd you even put it in the first place? But besides that, that's the end of the review. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.